The issue of gun crime across the UK. Tony Blair now planning urgent measures to tackle the problem and to target street gangs after a series of fatal shootings in London and in Manchester. Well, currently, let's take you through the legislation. Those aged between 18 and 21 years old can receive a minimum 5-year jail term just for possessing an illegal firearm. However, the courts rarely impose this sentence. The Prime Minister wants to change that, so everybody between 17 and over will face a minimum 5-year term. But what other measures have the government taken to restrict illegal gun use? Well, the Violent Crime Reduction Act looked to target imitation firearms. We know from talking to people on Sky News just this weekend that that's a real problem, particularly in South London, and making it illegal to manufacture or even sell imitation guns that could be mistaken for the real thing. And the Act also creates tougher manufacturing standards, so imitation guns are harder to convert to fire real ammunition. And then again, from May this year, it's going to be an offence for someone to mind or even hide a weapon for another person, which is what was being said in the newspapers about that victim, Billy Cox. Well, let's talk now to the author of Baby Father, a book about absentee fathers. Patrick Augustus joins us now. Very good evening to you, Mr. Augustus. First of all, if I can ask you about the changes that Tony Blair is proposing, should I say, in gun law. Do you think these changes in the law are going to make a change on the street or not?
No, those changes Tony Blair's talking about, I don't think it's going to have any, won't do anything to change the ways or the behaviour of the young youths. What I find recently is that most the black youths, particularly because we're talking about black on black violence, most of the black youths know that if they kill a white person, they're going to do the maximum time in jail. However, if they kill a black person, maybe 2.5, 3.5 years, they're on street again, and they'll have a street credibility, some street cred with them as well. So until they actually change the law and make you get a maximum sentence of maybe 20 years just for having a gun in your possession, I can't personally see any changes. And that's information I've got from talking to prisons, well, being in prisons, talking to young offenders, if you like.
And all of this, of course, tied up with drugs. We all know that that's what's at the bottom of this. And of course, now the contention seems to be that if you do put people away for gun crime, they can make more contacts inside and sort out more crime on the outside from that position.
Well, exactly. I mean, a lot of the children, as well as the elder ones who actually go to jail for gun crime and drugs related, they make a lot more money selling drugs even in jail than they do making outside, because the price goes up about 4 or 5 times. So when they get their visits, they get more money. And a lot of people talk about fathering as being, part of the problem. And very often fathers want to get involved with their children, but whether it be the mothers or the courts or some reason, another, they can't be involved in the process. And there's no one really, like the government should be spending a lot of money actually boosting a lot of these community projects who's actually helping bond fathers with children.
We've talked a lot about, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but we're limited for time. We have heard a lot about millions of pounds going into places like Peckham, Streatham, Clapham, all over South London. One man in the newspaper actually saying we should have an international billiards team out of the amount of snooker halls we've got down there, and the football initiatives that we've got going, and the youth clubs. There are places for people to go, but it is down to the parents in the end, these people are saying in the newspapers, and at the end of the day, parental responsibility is at the root of the problem.
I think that's part of the problem, but you can't say that's the problem for all people. I mean, as you said, they're building a couple more prisons now. Now, if that money was spent in giving kids opportunities and giving them some kind of hope so they can have ambition, i.e. a lot of the boxing clubs, for example, that they've closed down over the years, which kids had a place to go and train, learn discipline, and they won't be out 11 o'clock at night so if they have to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to go for a run.
But where are the parents at 11 o'clock at night? My kids aren't on the street at 11 o'clock at night. I know where they are.
Well, that's fortunate for you, but I mean, my next door neighbour, for example, she's got an 11-year-old child, and 2 o'clock in the morning she's knocking my house, asking me if I know where her child is. And this kid's 11 years old, so you've got a lot of latchkey kids and a lot of parents who shouldn't really be parents and actually need to be taught how to be parents. And there's no support for them even within schools that, you can get parents afterwards and actually help them be a parent. So For myself, I do workshops with the Baby Father Alliance as well. Sometimes I do some workshops with Bernardo's and the Baby Father Alliance. And we actually focus on helping parents. So to write a book called Weekend Fathers, just so there's a reference point where people who don't know how to be a father can actually go and look where, get some advice, because that's the problem right now. A lot of fathers have told me when they look for advice on even how to be a father, they see women and parents clubs, but organisations, but nothing really there, no forums for them as a father.
Patrick, Augustus, we really appreciate you giving your time up to explain things for us. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
And to breaking news regarding Condoleezza Rice's trip to the Middle East. She is reported now as saying that following talks with Palestinian leaders today, she has seen no indication that a new Palestinian unity government will meet the conditions for US recognition. That is, that government should, of course, recognise Israel and renounce violence. According to Dr. Rice, no indication that they will do that. 2 soldiers who were shot for cowardice during World